In this video, we're going to look at some charge FAQs. So the agenda is to review some important charge frequently asked questions. So items we're going to cover today: how you can default a date of service during charge entry, where to enter the note for NOC or unspecified procedure. This is for in the electronic segment where loop 2400 is. This is typically required for NOC or unspecified codes that you transmit to CMS, Medicare, which is you need to present that note with additional information. So where would you present that info? How to delete a charged line or the entire charge. How you can send a corrected claim electronically. And we are also going to look at how you can switch the insurance coverage for a posted charge and rebill. So let's begin the training. Firstly, we're going to open the charge entry screen, and I'm going to show you how you can default a date of service when entering the charge. So when you open the enter charges screen, and when you're entering the charge information and you type in a code, you would see the date of service that's going to default is going to be the current date, which is today's date. But if you want to default a particular date of service or a different date of service here, the way you can do that is just change the appointment date here, and let's say I want the date of service to be 12/20/2018. So I put that date in there. Once I put that date in, I will then hit this create a new charge option, and I hit the new create a new charge, so it brings up the blank charge screen. Next, I can select patient, case, diagnoses, and all the other additional charge information. Now, when I type in the code, you can see that it's going to default that date. So if you have multiple claims that you need to bill for a single date, you can, and which is if you want to bill them together, you can just select this date here and hit the create a new charge. So that way you don't have to be changing the date here each time. So you until you go to the next date of service, it will continue to bring up this appointment date as the date of service in this field. Now, anytime you want to change the date and you're going to do more charges for another date, you can just put that date in and again hit the create a new charge and start the next date the same way. The next item I'm going to show you is how you can where you can enter a note, a line note, which is typically required for an NOC code or a code or an unspecified CPT or procedure code, where you would need to, typically this is required for drug codes, where you need to add a note on the claim when you transmit the claim to the insurance. So to add a note, so I'm going to just pick an unspecified code here, and then on the right hand side you can see there is a yellow enter notes option. Over here you click on it and a yellow note comes up, and you need to type in the note or whatever additional information for that code you need to go out on the claim. You need to enter it into this line note field. Once you have entered, hit save and close, and then you can post all the other information and save the charge. At the moment, unfortunately, this is not a field that can be pre-populated from the setup. So this is a one-time, or you'll have to enter it each time when you are entering the charge. Next, we're going to look at how you can send a replacement claim or a corrected claim or even a voided claim. So we're going to go open the edit charges screen. Now on the edit charges screen, I'm going to just open a patient and open a charge. So let's say there's a claim that you want to send, and let me try to find a date of service that I could use. Okay. So let's say if this claim has to be submitted as a corrected claim. What you would need to do here is in the resubmission code field, you can see that it's an original claim. So this resubmission code that would be transmitted for every claim that you submit from the system is going to use the original claim, which is for and which corresponds to code number 1 for the resubmission code. Now, if you want to submit it as either a replacement claim or void or cancel of prior claim, which is a replacement as 7 as a code. So let's say if you want to submit it as a replacement claim, corrected claim, you want to use the option here as replacement of prior claim. Now, once you select this, you also have to enter the original reference number, which is going to be the claim number. The insurance claim number is what you want to enter into this field. So you will select replacement of prior claim and enter the ICN, which is the claim number, into this field. Once you do that, you want to hit the save and counter to have it updated, and then you just rebuild the claim. This you can do for any insurances that will accept corrected claim electronically. Do note that you cannot do this for Medicare because Medicare does not accept corrected claim electronically, so you will have to send it on paper. But this claim for any payers that do accept electronically, you would need to select here as replacement of prior claim, or if you want to be sending it as a voided claim, you can select void or cancel of prior claim. Next item we're going to look at is how you can delete a charge line or void off the entire charge. To delete a charge line, you can just change the status of it to void and hit save line. Now, if the line has any payments applied, the system will not allow you to void it. So you want to reverse any payments that you applied and then choose the status of void and hit save line. Now, if there are multiple lines on the claim, you want to void off the entire charge, you would have to select each line on the charge would have to be put to a void status. So as mentioned previously, there is no physical delete option in this system. So if you want to void off the charge, you have to void off every line on the charge. If you want to void off any one line on the charge, you just select the line and void off that line. The final item we're going to look at is how you can switch a coverage on a posted claim, that is for a claim that has a coverage that is already selected, how you can switch that coverage. So the way that you would typically do that is by using the case switch function. You can access the case switch screen by hitting on this K, or bring up the edit case by clicking on this K on the top right hand side of the screen, or you can also, which is this is the case edit screen from here, and you can go to the case switch, or the other way is you can go to the case screen from the main patient screen. So you go to the patient, and from here also you can access the case switch. So I'm going to bring up the case switch from the patient screen. So I open up the case screen, and here too you have the case switch. So select a case. When you go from the patient screen, you need to select a case, and once you have the case selected, then you hit the case switch. So once you have clicked on the case and hit the case switch tab, it'll show all the date of services that you can switch. Now, whichever date that you want to switch, you can click on it, and then in the switch to case number, you can select the case that you want to switch it to. So let's say if this needs to be switched to this case, I select that case. Now you can either hit the switch case or switch case and rebill, which means that that will also be put toward rebill status. Now, one important thing is that when you're switching, when you're looking up the date of service list, if you see that any particular date that you want to switch does not show up here, that is because it has got an insurance payment applied. If an insurance payment has been applied to a visit, it does not bring it up on the list. So you would have to reverse that payment. Also, if the status of the claim is in bill patient, you can see this is in an insurance status, but if it is in a bill patient status, then when you do the switch case and rebill option, it does not rebill it. You do have to go to the charge to be able to rebill that claim. So the switch case will be done, but the rebill will not happen if the line status is in a non-insurance status. Only if it is in an insurance status would that line be rebuilt. If it is in a non-insurance status, which is like a bill patient status, then it would not rebill. You would have to go to the charge and change the status to a rebill status. So that was about how you can switch coverage on a claim. So once you have this done, switch this visit from this case to the other case, it would use that coverage on that case, and you can just rebuild the claim to have that claim submitted to that insurance.